Hello everybody and welcome back to some more NASCAR Heat 5 Custom Championship season without the playoffs, where today we're heading over to Watkins Glen for only 12 laps, so it seems pretty short, but it could be very eventful. I mean, based on the last two races where we had a DNF and a race where we probably should have DNF'd 3 different times. Yeah, we're going to head over to Watkins Glen. And yeah, also just to be sure, I did not turn off DNFs. I do keep them enabled just in case anybody was wondering. Maybe I turned it off. Maybe that's how I survived the mayhem at New Hampshire. But no, that is not the case. We were actually just very lucky. So hopefully that luck persists through today's race and we, actually get a decent finish because it's been quite a while. 19th place. I am 4 seconds off the lead and I'm in 19th place. At this point, I'm actually convinced that the way the system works in this game is that depending on your difficulty and whatever, they just place you wherever. Because that was a terrible lap, and yet I'm still in 19th. Actually, what's the difference between first place and last place? As Eric Almirola, actually, good for him, picks up the pole, 107.6. Last place, 121.5. 14 seconds off the pace. That's pretty bad, but hey, you know what? We're going to continue anyways. That lap was not clean at all. I do feel like there's a chance for us to actually do pretty well here. It's a lot going to depend on, whether or not I wreck myself because I'm getting pretty aggressive around some of these corners, and doing so could probably end pretty poorly if, an AI decides to bump me in the back while I get a bit sideways. Okay, here we go down the front straight. Everybody's already, all over the place. We actually might get a really good start here. We get through the gears a bit faster than it looks like some of the AI do. We're going to get to fourth gear on the brake a bit late. Okay, fortunately Suarez decided to hook it left there. We got so many positions there that we probably shouldn't have. One of the things about road courses in a lot of racing games, unfortunately, is that the AI isn't always great. Obviously, unless it's a game, something like Formula 1, where that's all of the tracks, so the AI are actually tuned to do that. In a game like this, the AI do tend to brake a bit early in some cases, especially in the restarts. So I'm going to try and not brake too late here. I don't want that to happen though. Okay, well, Ty Dillon has, met his fate. I didn't do anything there. I'm pretty sure he was frightened by the bright orange rear end of my vehicle, which has changed, actually, in the last episode, if you hadn't realized. And yeah, he just decided he wanted to go say hello to the, wall outside of the chicane, or the bus stop, I guess we should say. So yeah, hey, we're in the top 10. I don't mind the fact that he decided to beat himself to the wall. It doesn't affect my race. If anything, it actually helps me out a little bit, because actually, you know what? Did his brother do that? Because Austin Dillon's looking awfully innocent right there in 11th place, where his brother once was. I don't know, maybe he was a bit jealous that his younger brother was beating him, so he decided to, get rid of him the old-fashioned way. All right, we're going to go to the inside of Kevin Harvick here. We're getting through these pretty smooth. I could definitely be more aggressive, but the one thing I'm trying to avoid is braking far too late, mainly because I don't know how our tires are going to hold up, as we do have a little bit of damage actually from Ty Dillon. All right, upshift. We're in a 15 laps of fuel, 12 lap race. We should be good. Our tires barely wore down at all in the first lap. I will say, going down this back straight, it's really hard to read some of these brake markers that are off to the side, and some of them are in really odd spots. I thought they were all supposed to be on the left, but in some cases they seem to be on the right, which is probably how they are in the real world. But I got a bit confused during qualifying, and I definitely, missed my brake markers a few times. Probably lost at least a second, maybe 2. In fact, not that it would have mattered. They probably still would have made us start in 19th position anyways. But so far we've been pretty clean. The only real mishap was, I guess, braking a bit early for the bus stop on the first lap. But I'm okay with the one casualty that happened there because it was not my fault. What do you guys think of road courses, by the way? When I was growing up, I mean, I was always a big fan of Jeff Gordon, and I basically always will be. So obviously I felt pretty biased, but I've always enjoyed watching road course races just because they're different from the ovals that, obviously a lot of those tracks are very similar. And so I feel like there's more driver skill that goes into the hand of the drivers at a track like this, where it's not all aero dependent. The person with the best car isn't necessarily always going to win. It's usually, there's more things the driver has to do from lap to lap. So I enjoy watching these a lot more. And I personally think Watkins Glen is the best road course that NASCAR currently drives at, just because it is very high speed for the most part. There are very few slow sections, which is basically this final part of the lap right here. For the most part, it's very quick, especially for a road course, as I completely missed that final corner there as I'm trying to get to the back of Ryan Preece. What do you guys think? What's your favorite road course that NASCAR races at? And do you think that there are other ones that they should add? Obviously, you know, they have like Mid-Ohio, Mosport, things like that, that other series race at, that the Cup Series doesn't race at. I think it'd be cool to add those. I do think there are a few other racetracks, you know, that NASCAR could add, even just within the United States itself, because for some reason they seem pretty reluctant to take the Cup Series outside of the U.S., which seems kind of odd that they're okay with doing it with like the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series, but they don't want to do it with their Premier Series, which seems kind of weird. But I feel like I'm definitely missing a brake marker down here on the backstretch, actually, because we're not doing a whole lot. We're actually losing a little bit of ground, I think, to Daniel's. Okay, at this point, Daniel Suarez is actually having like the season of his life, because he's always right behind us. He was right behind us in the last race too, you know, before all that chaos happened. We're not really making up any ground here. In fact, we are losing ground, but we're in an okay position. I would like to not lose this spot, but it seems like Daniel Suarez is actually going to get past us, probably because I wasn't actually paying attention there. We should definitely be in third gear. Fourth gear is going to make us really slow off the exit of that corner. I don't know if we want to be in second there. I'm pretty sure second's a bit too low. All right, fourth gear. We're going to try and defend from him. We're being pretty consistent here with like 111s, which is not great by any means. But, you know, Denny Hamlin's already kind of checked out. Denny Hamlin seems like he's got a big lead on everybody else behind him. So really, we're just trying to compete for like maybe a decent top 10 if tire wear actually starts to become a thing, which I don't think it's really going to matter too much in this race, but you can never be too sure. Also, the thing I love about this track, at least in NASCAR, is that in this corner right here at the exit of the carousel, if you want, you can go absolutely as wide as possible, use the entire exit, as Daniel Suarez is going to try and probably look to the inside. I'm probably going to have to give it to him there, unfortunately. He's actually faster than these guys ahead of us, so maybe we can use him to get around them. But yeah, in a lot of other racing series, that's considered out of bounds if you use the entire exit of the carousel. Also, in a lot of series, they don't run this circuit. They usually have the boot section, which a lot of people think they should run in NASCAR. I personally don't think it adds any benefit in NASCAR because it's not really a braking zone. It's just kind of like a small rhythm section, which doesn't really facilitate any kind of passing. So I don't think it'd be, you know, any better if they were to add it. I think they were better off just keeping it in the current configuration, just because it's pretty fast. Also, our car got very loose entering the S that time. That was not safe at all. We have a pretty decent lead over Kevin Harvick. I shouldn't say lead, but, you know, distance between us. So I'm feeling like, I mean, we have a top 10 car. It might just be the very edge of the top 10. But as long as I don't, you know, continue missing my brake markers like that, we could have a pretty decent finish here. The unfortunate thing being that, of course, Denny Hamlin is leading, and Kyle Busch is also still ahead of us. So we're still going to lose more ground. But at the very least, maybe we're going to pass, I don't know, Ryan Blaney or somebody else. I have no idea where he's running. So, yeah, you know, it's a far cry from a win, but it's also a lot better than the last two races we've had. Okay, so Daniel Suarez has made it ahead of Ryan Preece. Unfortunately, I don't think that's really held him up at all, so it doesn't look like we're really any closer to passing him. We definitely have the speed, I think, to get up there. It's just I'm not really putting together the cleanest laps, and especially through this carousel, I'm hitting this terribly, and then you just go really wide and you lose a lot of speed for the rest of the corner. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they don't laser scan these tracks, but I feel like the carousel is slightly different in real life than it is in the game. Because I remember in other games, especially things like iRacing, if you take a stock car around those corners, usually the way I push throughout the exit, I always have to use like the sort of out of bounds area in other series. But in this game, it seems like I'm always just comfortably within the like that yellow line, which doesn't really make any sense. But I could be wrong. We are still pulling ahead of Kevin Harvick by quite some distance. So hopefully we can actually get up here. They are side by side. The longer they stay side by side, okay, that is actually Kyle Busch. So maybe we can get up there, get alongside him, maybe get past him. Denny Hamlin actually looks like he's going to start lapping some cars here pretty soon. Look at the big gaps between like the top 5 cars. There's probably like a 5-second gap between all of them, like individually. That's kind of crazy, as I probably don't want to hit that curb there. That's definitely not advisable. Okay, we are much closer to Ryan Preece and Kyle Busch this time around. I'm thinking we can probably get there. We have 4 laps left, so we're 2/3 of the way through this race. This is a pretty short race, in all honesty. It's probably one of the shortest in terms of time. But it definitely doesn't feel like it, mainly because, you know, we're downshifting and upshifting the whole race, whereas on an oval, you basically just upshift on the... okay, I probably upshifted a bit too early there. You basically just upshift on the restarts, and then you're basically done. Yeah, but we're going to lose a little bit of time because I got up to 4th a bit too early. That's the other thing. You really don't practice shifting a whole lot in this game because you don't really have to worry about it too much. So then when you come to a road course, you could easily lose track of it, especially when you're trying to talk at the same time like I am. But we are getting ever so slightly closer. Also, if you look at my left front tire, 64%. It's not exactly the happiest thing in the world, but it's going to be completely fine. I don't think tire wear really bears too much on this track anyways, so we should be fine. Denny Hamlin probably off to a pretty safe win, barring, you know, him being held up by the lap traffic too long. But he does have a pretty big lead over the other guys behind him. At least, you know, looking at the minimap, that's what it looks like. So he's probably going to be fine. I think that'll be his 5th win of the season or something like that. So not going to help us in any real way, but really we're just trying to, you know, our goal right now is to try and get around Kyle Busch and just try and have a clean race after the last few races that we've had. Honestly, anything that's not a complete disaster is basically an improvement. Also, I do find it kind of weird that for some reason the ratings in this game just seem all kind of, they all seem messed up. Like Denny Hamlin, I mean, he's good, obviously, and like at a lot of racetracks, but you would think like Truex or Chase Elliott or the guys that, you know, regularly dominate a lot of these road courses nowadays would have a really high rating on these tracks, but I don't think they do. I think the ratings in this game are pretty bad, if we're being honest. They kind of just put some drivers consistently at the top of basically every section, and then they kind of left it that way, which isn't very, you know, representative of how you'd actually expect them to do in the real world. Although, I don't know, Ryan Preece also, I'm pretty sure he's not exactly, you know, having a season he'd probably like to remember, but he's still up here fighting for a top 10 at Watkins Glen with Kyle Busch, of all people. So, I don't know what to think. What do you guys think? Have you guys experienced any kind of weird things like that in like your career or your season modes, where the AI are like not at all representative of what they are on the real world? Mainly Daniel Suarez seems to be the big sort of thing in our season. Although Ryan Newman, I guess, also has kind of definitely been overperforming. But there's a lot of drivers that have been overperforming, and then I feel like a lot of the Hendrick cars, they're not, you know, the best cars anymore like they used to be. But like Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, Johnson Byron, none of them even seem to be competing for wins, honestly, at all in the series, which seems kind of, you know, disappointing as somebody that's personally a fan of most of them. All right, we're not really doing a good job at catching these guys. Our best hope is going to be that they get, you know, alongside each other and hold each other up. Ooh, this could be a good corner. I'm not lifting. Okay, we're definitely going to use a bit of the, you know, the exit here. That doesn't really help us. We're still like a second down. We haven't really been able to get any closer. Mainly because in some of these corners, I'm definitely getting on the brakes a bit too late. And then in some a bit too early. They are side by side. This could help us. We're coming to the white flag. I feel like they're definitely using second gear in some of these corners where I'm not. But at this point, I'm kind of, you know, afraid to bother trying that because we could just spin ourselves out. We are on their tail. If we can get a decent run coming out of the S's, which is not at all a guaranteed thing for me. In fact, we might have already thrown that away. We could have a shot. I'm not liking our chances, though. Okay, up in a fourth gear. Down the backstretch for the final time. Denny Hamlin probably still going to win comfortably. We've still ever so slowly pulled ahead of Austin Dillon and now Corey LaJoie. That's kind of, you know, random. All right, I'm definitely braking too early here in the bus stop. I got on it a bit later that time, which is going to help us tremendously. Can I get to the inside of Ryan Preece? Not quite. He is going to cut us off. I'm going to try and bump him. Can I get through here? I am basically pushing him through the corner. Okay, we're gonna have to do something bold here. It's not going to end well, I feel like. But we're going to try something. It might be in the very final corner. Or it might be right here, actually. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch is right there. We're not going to have enough room. We're going to have to dive to the inside right here. We're going to do it. We're going to make it stick. We're not going to get past Kyle Busch, unfortunately. But we're going to at least pick up one of those spots. That was basically the entire race. I'll take a 9th place. I'll be honest. 9th place. Considering it's Watkins Glen and I felt like I could have done significantly worse, I'll take that. I was kind of hoping we would at least beat Kyle Busch because, you know, we're not going to make up any ground on him by finishing behind him. And we're definitely not going to make up any ground on Denny Hamlin after he just won yet another race. But now looking at the overall results, we can see that actually, you know, speaking of Ryan Newman, 2nd place at a track that I don't think he's really ever done all that well at. I could be wrong. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., also 3rd place. Like I said, the game doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense. Chase Elliott does finish ahead of us, which, you know, I don't think is something that could have actually been said that many times this season, which is ironic considering how poorly we've done. But yeah, Denny Hamlin wins yet another race. So going ahead and looking at the standings, we don't actually improve at all. We're still 7th place in points. We're still 1 point behind Blaney. We're not really making any leeway. Denny Hamlin is now 42 points ahead of Kyle Busch. I have a feeling that the championship's probably already decided. He's also got 5 wins over Kyle Busch, who only has 1. So You know, still like what, 8 races left or something after this, so still plenty of time, but he's definitely the favorite right now. But anyways, guys, that will wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I mean, hey, we finally got a top 10 after, you know, 2 races of basically just trying to survive. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one.